Hey, what's up, guys? I'm not going to be on here for very long, but I wanted to kind of talk about. I'm kind of right now really thinking heavily about the Me Too movement, I guess, because that's been in the news. A lot of people are discussing it. And I think that somebody has to bring some rationality and common sense to the conversation. I saw where the Kavanaugh hearings happened, and it looks like this guy's going to get, he's going to get on the Supreme Court. Also, I'm willing to bet you the Republicans are going to get a lot of advantages in the midterm elections because a lot of people are scared and upset about, sort of how the whole hearing kind of went down. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you exactly why I think the Democrats made a huge mistake on this and why they're going to regret what seems to be an advantage. Like right now, it seems like they have an advantage because you got the Me Too movement, and they're taking everybody down and going hard on people and things like that. And will Kavanaugh roll back affirmative action? Probably. I mean, I'm not a Kavanaugh fan at all. I don't like this guy as a justice. I think there are a lot of folks that need affirmative action, but at the same time, I think black people collectively, we have to move away from all of that. I think that affirmative action is kind of it's like a false sedative. It's a lie that's fed to you that makes you feel like you're financially secure when you're really not. No black person, no black man or black woman who works for white people is ever financially secure. Let's just be clear about that. As long as you work for white folks, you'll never be financially secure. And it's not anything against white folks. It's really an honest reflection on the racism in this country. You're never safe if you're black, if you work for white people. The only way you can get safe is learning the basics of getting wealth that you actually control. Like that comes through investing, that comes through long-term wealth building strategies. It's going to be hard for us to get safe, in this generation. I almost think about financial security for the black community, almost like it's like if you're raining, let's say you're outside and it's raining, and it's going to rain all day, and you can't get an umbrella, right now because you're waiting a week to get your paycheck. Well, you're going to get wet for a week, right? If it's raining and you don't have an umbrella and you can't get one until you get paid and you get paid next week, you're going to be wet for a week. But once you get, your money, you got to think about what you're going to do. How are you going to make sure you don't get wet anymore? So in a way, in this generation, we're kind of going to be stuck in financial insecurity as black people. We're just stuck. Why? Well, because wealth building takes, at least a typically. It usually takes at least a generation to build, secure, strong, secure wealth. Like that, what I call that FU money. FU money is where you have enough money where you can tell your boss, FU, I'm out. Well, FU money usually takes time to grow. I show my students exactly how to do that. It's not very hard to do. I'm a finance professor. I assume you guys know that, but in case you're new, you may not know that. And, but it takes time. You have to give it time. Most wealthy families that really have like $10 million fortunes, they did that over a generation. They didn't do that in 2 weeks. They didn't do that because they got an NBA contract or a record deal. They did it because they made long-term saving and investing strategies. They had insurance policies where their kids got, two, three, $400,000 when they died. They paid off the house. So the kids got a $500,000 house that the parents bought in the 1950s for like 50,000 bucks. They got all kinds of other assets, so they got a business that was, making money for the family. So anyway, with that said, the Me Too movement was on my mind, and because as a black man, I think that there's a lot of reason to fear for the safety of a lot of men, especially black men, in this environment where people are being sent to prison without evidence. The Me Too movement started off as a great idea. It was great to highlight sexual assault victims and survivors and what they go through, and to make sure that they are protected and they get the support that they deserve. There's no question about that. The problem is that, when you're given that kind of power, that power has to be used responsibly. It can't be used in a way to just go settle old scores or to unfairly persecute people that have less power than you. And that's what it's kind of become. When you get to the point where you're violating all these laws, you're breaking every, criminal procedure known to man so you can incarcerate people with no evidence, that's when you've gone from being a victim to being a predator. You're no longer a protector. You are preying on other people. If somebody can go out and say, "Oh, so and so grabbed my butt 20 years ago." First of all, getting your butt grabbed is not rape. That's not the same thing. So you can't. So stop acting like everything is rape. Everything ain't rape. Rape is rape. Bad sex is not rape. Getting your booty grabbed is not rape. Somebody brushing up against your titty, that ain't rape. It's bad. It's not cool. You can't do that. But that's not the same as rape. But I think that in order to form these political coalitions, because politics is a dirty game, they want to make everything rape. Everything's just like rape. Oh, you're just like R. Kelly. You're just like a predator. No, a guy who allegedly grabbed a woman's butt in 1988 is not R. Kelly. Those are different things, right? R. Kelly should be in prison. The guy who grabbed somebody's butt, some would say probably that they shouldn't go to prison for that, right? So that's one thing. I think that when you started getting to the point, and here's where the Me Too movement went from being protective to predatory. When you get to the point where you're sending people to prison with no evidence, like the Bill Cosby trial, you can believe all you want, and we can all believe. I believe Bill Cosby was guilty. I really do. I really think Bill Cosby did some stuff he wasn't supposed to do. But you can believe all you want, but just you know decide that because you believe somebody's guilty that they should go to prison. Bill Cosby was not on trial for anything that had anything to do with all those other cases he was accused of. He was on trial for grabbing Andrea Constand's boob while she was incapacitated. Andrea Constand got $3 million, 3.5 million or whatever, agreed not to prosecute. If you agree not to prosecute, you can't prosecute. You're not supposed to prosecute, right? But they did it anyway. And so, and then you have to also ask, is $3 million worth of boob grab? Like if somebody grabs your titty and they pay you $3 million, is that not fair compensation? I say it's beyond fair. I really do. But, anyway, going deeper than that, though, without even making Cosby part of the discussion, there are many other cases that you may not know about all around the United States where innocent men are being sent to prison right now with no evidence because somebody got mad or somebody had some bad sex or somebody was embarrassed because they got drunk and had sex or whatever, and they're trying to send them to prison. One is the case up in University of Wisconsin. The brother's name is Quintez Cephas. Quintez Cephas was targeted by two women that wanted to have sex with him, two white girls. I guess they're all everybody must be a hoe because they all decided they wanted to do a threesome. So the two girls got with him. They're like, "Hey, Quintez, let's all fuck each other." So they all went in this room to all have sex. They were all high. They were all drunk. The next day, the white girl said, "He raped me." And so they went without any evidence. They went and arrested Quintez. He's on trial right now for rape. He could have his life ruined. His football career is already over. And these young ladies have not received any sort of heavy questioning. They haven't received any sort of, investigation that really looks into like what was really going on. There's video that shows these young ladies walking out of his place, very friendly with him, talking to him. One of them, they were walking down the steps and they didn't look drunk at all. They looked very sober. One of them actually sent him a text message saying, "I can't wait to see you again." That's not what you say to your rapist. You don't send them a text with smiley faces and hearts. Okay, I think I lost you guys. So anyway, so basically, that's, a good example of how this power can become predatory. It does not mean that there are not legitimate victims out here. It does not mean that we don't pursue those cases. But one thing we got to understand is that we got to get rid of the gender bias in the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement is filled with gender bias, and the bias is against men. Let me explain. The Me Too movement assumes, one, that the victims can only be women. Women are the only victims that there are. Now, this is anti-feminism. If feminism is arguing that men and women are equal and that we're all equally capable of all things, then that means we're equally capable of good things and equally capable of bad things. But one of the things that they argue is that all victims are female, pretty much. If you look throughout all the annals of all the people being destroyed over, having sex in the workplace and all this other stuff that they've tacked on to the Me Too movement, instead of just talking about sexual assault, they literally make men into predators because you were the boss and your secretary wanted to fuck you and you fucked the secretary, so that makes you a predator. That's insane to me because you are assuming that, again, this is not a feminist idea. Feminism to me, or women's equality to me, means men and women are equally capable of both both wanting to fuck, right? Men and women both want to have sex, right? So a woman can hit on a man just like a man can hit on a woman. So what you have is you might have a situation where a secretary is attracted to powerful men, like a lot of women are, and she says to this powerful man, "Hey, come to my place. I'm gonna take care of you." So he's like, "Okay, bet, let's do it." So they have sex, and somehow he's labeled as a predator because he took the advance and the offer that came from the woman. That's insane to me. That's ridiculous to me. In fact, if you want to punish men for taking the offer that was offered to him by a woman in the workplace, then you must also punish the woman for making the offer in the first place. So what I think we need to think about is, and women who support this bullshit, you need to understand that if a man is deemed a predator for having sex with you, consensual sex with you in the workplace, then you could be labeled as a predator for luring him in, for trying to talk him into it, for sending him the naked pictures, for doing whatever it is that you might do to get a man's attention. So, I think that what we got to understand is that this gender bias in the Me Too movement it's kind of stupid. It's really stupid. It's really ignorant. Another stupid example. We assume that only men know how to lie, that women can't lie, that a woman don't know how. Her brain's too goddamn tiny that she knows how to tell a lie. She can't do it. Her brain is incapable of producing bullshit, producing a lie. We know that's not true. Many of us have met women who lie. We've met men who lie. People lie. Human beings tell lies. And the reason you investigate when somebody tries to destroy somebody's life is you investigate because you don't know who the victim is. You don't know who the predator is. I might come to you and say, I'm the victim. My neighbor came to my house and pulled a gun on me and tried to shoot me in the toe. And if you go and you arrest him without asking, like, well, what happened? What's your evidence? Then you's a damn fool. You's a damn fool. Because I can literally be telling you that to make myself the victim when really I was the one who pulled a gun out on him. Now, that's easy to believe. It's easy to imagine a man doing that. It's easy to imagine a black man lying and saying, oh, yeah, man, that dude pulled a gun on me. Well, really, you pulled out the gun. It's easy to picture that. But for some reason, they can't picture a woman doing the same thing. They can't picture a woman lying on a man and saying, oh, he did this to me, he did that to me, when really she's mad and she's trying to get revenge, right? So I think that the Me Too movement became predatory, one, when you started sending innocent people to prison or people to prison without any evidence, and two, when you started believing the false assumption that only men know how to lie. I also think that if you're a feminist and you believe in the equality of men and women, you can't believe that equality applies when it comes to the good things, but equality doesn't apply when it comes to the bad things. Like, you can't say, well, women can do the same work as men, women are as strong as men, et cetera, but then flip the script and get into nonsense when you say, well, why would we not believe the woman? The woman said it's true, then it must be true. No. You said men and women are equal. You told me men and women are the same. So if men and women are equal and men and women are the same, then that means that if that motherfucker can lie, then she can lie too. If that dude over there can tell a lie, then that woman can tell a lie too. So why would you tell me that men and women are equal when it comes to the good stuff, but that we're not equal when it comes to the bad stuff? That doesn't make any sense. That's hypocritical. It's ridiculous. And it really is kind of reflective of just the sheer irrationality of white feminism to begin with. White feminism is where it's like, okay, we want all the good stuff, but we don't want none of the bad stuff. We want all the power, but we want no accountability. We want to be able to tell anybody, and you're a victim blamer, we're going to say that you hate sexual assault victims, that you're attacking people. Well, what about the victims I'm protecting? What about the victims that I'm protecting? You talk about the victims that you're protecting when it comes to sexual assault, and I stand with you on that. I support that completely. But I got black men that I'm protecting too, who have had their lives ruined because some chick decided to tell a lie because she mad because the sex was bad, or because he wouldn't call her back, or because she just wants to destroy his life, or because she fucking crazy. Seriously, you got crazy people out here that tell lies. So the Me Too movement, unfortunately, because a couple things. One, because they allowed everybody to claim to be a sexual assault victim, even if they're just mad that a man told them she looks good in a dress. Yeah, if a man looked you up and down and said, girl, you look good in that dress, that ain't the same as being raped. I hope people who have common sense are hearing me. You cannot compare yourself to a rape survivor because a man looked at you and said and put his eyeballs on your booty. Well, seriously, your booty's there. Men are gonna look just like women look. I had on a suit one time, and I had a little bulge down in the, I had a little bulge going on because the pants were a little bit too tight, and I had a couple women comment on that. Now, here's the thing: if men and women are equal, and you're telling me that somehow you're traumatized like a rape victim because a man looked at you and saw the bulge of your booty of your boobs, and that traumatized you and leads you to feel you can destroy him, then why don't I feel the same way when women might have made a comment about the bulge that looked like it was coming out of my pants? It didn't affect me because it's like, oh damn, y'all need to get your mind out of the gutter, or that ain't right. That's it. That's all I said. I didn't go to the police and say, oh my God, you need to destroy her entire career because she looked at my body and it made me feel uncomfortable. Seriously, and again, this is the paradox. Again, this is the paradox of white feminism. White feminism wants you to believe men and women are equal, that men and women are very similar. So if we're equal and similar, then that means we'd have similar reactions to the same situations, right? So use another example. I've heard white women say, literally, I've seen them. I saw a case recently where the former head of the CDC, they were trying to destroy him because he allegedly grabbed a woman's butt like 3 years ago or something like that. There's no proof, no evidence, no nothing, just her words. And again, because we believe women don't lie and men are the only ones capable of lying. Gender equality, right? Because the feminists are committed to this gender inequality when it comes to stuff like that. Then they believe that the woman must be lying and that you got to believe her. Okay, well, let me say this. I've had my butt grabbed before. I had a woman literally just grab a big full of ass. Was unsolicited ass. Just grabbed my butt. It was an ex-girlfriend. She saw me. She said, "You look good," and she grabbed some ass. And now what did I do? I looked at her and I said, "Girl, you better quit." And that was it. It was done. That was it. I would never imagine, again, remember, feminists are on this gender equality thing, right? Men and women are equal. Men and women okay, well, if we're equal, then why is it that I cannot imagine. First of all, I'd look like a lunatic anyway if 20 years later I was to be like, she grabbed my ass. I've been traumatized ever since. I can't sleep. That's why I'm a drug addict. That's why I tried to kill myself. I've been depressed every year. The reason that I've committed crimes and done horrible things my whole life is because she grabbed my butt and it made me feel so humiliated and so sad. And I don't take care of my kids now. I can't even take care of my children because of the trauma of being a victim. I'm just like a rape victim because she grabbed my, seriously, like how stupid would I look if I said that? Now, again, I'm going back to point out that hypocrisy. I want y'all to follow me. Smart people can follow me. Logical people can follow me. Irrational people are going to just get pissed. They can't argue me down because they're not going to try to argue their way out because they can't. There's no logic that will allow you to refute what I'm saying. So the only thing you have is the number one weapon in the hands of the white feminists, which is emotion. Emotion. So what they'll do is they won't say, well, here's Dr. Watkins is the logical reason why your argument does not apply. They won't do that. What they'll do is they'll come back with either an attack, like, oh, well, you're attacking rape victims, or they'll come back with, oh, you don't know what it's like to go through what I went through. No, I don't know what it's like to go through what you went through, but getting your butt grabbed ain't the same as being raped. So let's make sure we're clear on that. And so what's interesting is, what they do is they kind of use the power of white women's tears to allow them to escape accountability. They want power without accountability. So I want the power to destroy you, but I don't need you to ask me to justify why I should have the right to destroy you, right? So if you come to me and you say, well, you're trying to destroy this man's life, maybe, we need to make sure you're telling the truth. We need to make sure it was really as traumatic as you say. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start crying. White women love to get together and huddle together in groups and cry. And that's like an attack. It's like a defense mechanism, but it's also an attack mechanism, because then you get men that start feeling like shit because you're like, God, we don't want to make a woman cry. And I remember this. I dated a girl in college. I'm gonna tell you all this story. This actually applies perfectly well. I dated a black girl in college for 2 years. She was a complete ass. Just the meanest woman I ever met. I mean, very nasty. But it was my fault. I chose a bad person. That's what I did. I'm not a victim. It's just what happened. And check this out. So she was black, but she liked white people. She hung with white people. Her favorite movie movie was The Bodyguard, and another one was Father of the Bride, which are both like very white movies. The Bodyguard was Whitney Houston dating a white guy, and she ended up marrying a white guy because she liked white guys. I was like her little black experiment, which didn't go well. But before me, she'd only dated white guys. After me, she only dated white guys. So she thought like a white woman. All her friends were white. She wanted to be a white girl. Like deep down, she hated being black, I think, and she wanted to be a white girl. So check this out. So I remember one time we were having one of those moments where she was just kind of, we were just kind of being honest with each other about, how we kind of communicate and some of the arguments. And she was talking about things you can do as a woman to win an argument. And she said, first you'll try this and this and this. And I'll never forget that she said, if things get really bad and you can't win, then you cry. She said, that's what I do. I'll cry in order to gain an advantage when I didn't have one. So what I think people should understand, and this is really true for anybody who's in a relationship, like just kind of know that like that's a tactic for some people. For some people, it's like, okay, since I can't really win, or I know I fucked up, since I know that I'm lying and I don't want you asking no more questions, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start crying, and then you're going to feel guilty, and I'm going to tell you that you're attacking the victim when the reality is that you don't even know who the victim is yet, right? So that's my 2 cents on it. I'm not bashing the what the Me Too movement was trying to do. I think there were people the sad thing is that there are people in the Me Too movement who really are fighting on behalf of sexual assault survivors. There are people in the Me Too movement who really want to do the right thing. There are people in the Me Too movement who really want to take down these bastards who have done horrible things to women. And guys who do those things to women, I do not support you. I do not stand with you. I do not believe in any of that. I don't back any of that. But what I'm trying to say is that you need fairness. You need to understand that both genders lie. Men are not the only ones who are capable of lying. So if feminists truly believe in equality, then they'll accept the idea that women and men can both lie. And then 2, you don't know who the victim is. Men and women can both be victims. So stop thinking that the only victims in this world are women, because I see a whole lot of men that are victims of white women treachery, telling a lie. All of Black Wall Street got burned down. Hundreds of people got murdered. Little babies got shot down in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Families had their wealth destroyed. Entire communities burned down. People were murdered in mass graves on Black Wall Street because one white woman told a lie that said what she said a black man brushed up against her on an elevator. So not only was it a lie, but even if it had been true, you need to really ask yourself, like, what in the hell makes somebody think? What is it about white privilege that makes you think it's okay to burn down an entire community and murder hundreds of people and incarcerate hundreds of people and steal billions of dollars in wealth because somebody brushed up against you on the elevator? Who the hell do you think you are to think that somebody brushing up against your sacred God-given body somehow gives you the right to go and destroy that person and their whole entire family, their whole entire community, and take everything that they've got? I've had people brush up against me on the elevator, and it would be insane for me to think that I could turn around and say, incarcerate that person, kill that person, kill their whole family, and take all of their shit. That's white privilege for your ass right there. Black Wall Street, perfect example. Emmett Till, perfect example. Thousands of black men going to prison over a white woman's lie, perfect example. So stop telling me. So that's what I'm saying about the Me Too movement. The Me Too movement, if you're associated with this shit, you need to become unassociated and get associated with something that makes sense, a common sense movement. Because right now we're assuming that only men can lie, women cannot tell a lie, that only women can be victims, and also that anything they want to do to a black man in America is okay. Right? Because in their mind, the black man is inherently predatory and he's incapable of being a victim. When you look at a lion against a gazelle, you see the lion as the predator, the gazelle as the prey. So the white woman says, I'm just a little gazelle, and you see the black man as the lion, when really in some cases she's the lioness and he's the fucking gazelle, because her tears, her lies, her words, her testimony, all of that is treated like gold and utilized as an avenue to incarcerate him for life, to send him away from his family for life, to ruin everything he's ever worked for, to ruin him for life, and to send him away to a dirty, nasty, cold, gray, hardened, concrete jungle called the penitentiary, where there's a bunch of big buck-ass motherfuckers who are 250, 300 pounds, who will rape him every single day until he grows old and until he dies. So you tell me all day that you care about sexual assault victims. You tell me all day that you don't want people getting raped. You tell me all day day. You're doing this for the survivors of sexual assault. Well, the biggest amount of sexual assault right now is happening in prison to men who look like me. And y'all ain't said a word about me that your whole movement, everything you claim to believe is absolute, complete, total bullshit. That's it. I'm done. I don't normally, I'm sorry guys. I know some of y'all know me as a financial guy, and that's what I am. I'm a finance professor, but I'm not a black man who happens to be a finance professor. I'm a finance professor. Sorry, scratch that. I'm not a finance professor who happens to be black. I'm a black man who happens to be a finance professor. So my blackness precedes every single thing I do. Everything that comes out of my mouth, every word I utter, every mathematical equation that I cite to you in class or whatever it is that we're doing will come from a lens of blackness. I do not apologize for that. I will not change that. That is who I am. And if you don't like it, well, all I can say is, well, fuck you too. So take care, guys. I'm out of here. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys soon. Be good. Peace.